Recording is on.
Okay, welcome to this first session of the Uyuni Community Awards for this year. The agenda is quite packed, and let's get started. As usual, after AQUIC, we are also giving some presentations of the outcome of those projects, and AQUIC was just the event that closed the previous year. So we have some summaries for this session, and very likely we will have some more also for the next Uyuni Community Awards for February. But before that, I want to give you some updates on the soon to be released new Uyuni version, and the title is a eye-catch one, but there is just an information that I want to share with you, and you will know more later. And so we will see these projects from the AQUIC, and the last presentation will be about the test reports. The Uyuni test reports, the availability of the test. So let's dive into the Uyuni release. The Uyuni release is called 01, so as you can imagine, the release is going to happen soon. I hope we can manage to have it actually in January, but could be that we will release it at the beginning of February. In any case, there are some news, of course. There are more distributions that are supported and that you can manage from Uyuni. And we have a lib16, then we have a SUSE Linux Enterprise Server 16. And always from the SUSE family, we have the LTSS version of 15 SP6 and also the SL Micro 6.2. There are also some additional changes, and this one in particular are about the bind and the DHCP container. This means that, as I said, the word container, we are going to use these containers, and the formula will directly interact with bind and the DHCP directly, pulling those images from the registry. There is an important news, and of course, with the release notes and the official announcement, as usual, as always, I'm stressing the concept. Please be careful, read everything really careful, because with this new release, we will have also the new PostgreSQL 18. So we have the bump of the PostgreSQL version. There is the automatic migration, but of course, read carefully all the notes, have your backup, so the usual suggestions applies, so to say. And another news, another information is that the mgr-adm migrate subcommand is now deprecated. Then you will see the details with the full release. But as I said, please pay attention to the announcement. There is also something new, something more cooking, and there are some improvements around Ansible, and in particular, you will see the new web UI for editing the playbook variables. The other important news on the UI side is that now we will have also the UI for the RBAC feature. There are some updates also on the monitoring stack. I mentioned here Prometheus, but there are also some other minor updates on other components. And last but absolutely not least, and please again read the release notes, there are some security fixes around Salt, Tornado, Grafana, Prometheus. So please have a look, and as always, try to update to the new version as soon as possible. And this was, let's say, the under the hood for the next release. But in the agenda, I used this title also for catching your attention. And actually, what I want to tell you here is that there is something cooking, something new. That will have, let's say, an impact more visible for the Uyuni contributors. For the final users, actually, the way to deploy Uyuni, the way to use it will be always the same. There is nothing really changing. But we are going to migrate also the way to build and to contribute Uyuni to this Git workflow. And if you are already an OpenSUSE contributor, probably you saw already some discussions around this topic. So it shouldn't be something completely new for this kind of users, contributors. But the main point that I really want to stress is that we are not going to make a switch from one day to the other without explaining anything and just throwing to you the news, the new toy to use, so to say. But we will have, in any case, a transition period where will be still possible to do contributions to the usual OBS projects, the system management Uyuni project on OBS, while we will prepare also for this new setup for using this Git workflow. So this one, it's more for info, something will come, but don't worry, we are going to make the final switch when we will be sure that everyone will be really able to use this workflow, and that the workflow, of course, is going to bring benefits and not create chaos. In any case, I'm leaving you here also some references. Those are the official references from the OpenSUSE project. There are some links explaining how you could migrate if you're building already some packages on OBS. Is explaining how to make the migration to Git. There is a link also on the packaging for lib. An additional page is explaining, is giving an overview of this Git packaging workflow. And there is also an additional page that tells how to move from OBS, how to use, OBS with Git. So there are a lot of references, as you can see. But we will give you in our usual places, the wiki, the official documentation, some guidance on how to do things, let's say the new way. And of course, I hope to see a lot of contributions still coming also with this new workflow. Before switching to the next topic, I want to only tell you one detail. We are not going to move away from GitHub when it comes to code contributions to Uyuni. This Git workflow is more related to, let's say, the step that are after some code is submitted to GitHub. So it's the way to build the packages and to finalize the release of Uyuni. So again, it's maybe for really not a lot of people, but in any case would be an important change that should also simplify the way to prepare the Uyuni release and to pack everything together. And with that, I think we can move to the next session for today. That is the recap of the different projects that we had for the AQUIC. So the first presenter is Julio that will tell us more about the new distributions introduced in Uyuni as client tools. Julio, stage is yours.
Thank you, Marina. Let me share my screen. Since I did it, but not sure if you need to stop sharing yours, or at least I can see. I still see yours.
I see yours, but I can also stop
Oh,
sharing.
so I hope you can see the first slide. Please confirm.
Yes, it works.
Yep.
Okay, very good. Then I will try to keep it short as we are quite packed today. It's very nice to be here with you again. As you know, usually I work during the Hack Week in adding new distributions as client for Uni, and as we all love all Linuxes here in Uni and not just the SUSE family, the first thing I did was adding Debian 13 and Raspberry Pi OS 13. So just a quick refresher about what those operating systems are. They are classical, they are non-transactional. In the case of Raspberry Pi OS, it's specific for the Raspberry boards, but the 32, the ARM 32 version is a rebuild of Debian 13 with separate repositories, while the 60 bits version is actually using the Debian 13 repositories. And then the only difference is that on top of those, there are some others for some extra packages, including the kernel, if I recall correctly. Something to keep in mind about Debian 13 is that I could see that at least at Amazon Web Services, Debian 13 already uses the new format for the repository definitions defined by Deb 822. So this should be transparent for you, but of course, if you are using Debian 13, at least on Amazon Web Services, you will need to learn a little bit about this new format. Other than that, what is the status of Debian 13 on Raspberry Pi OS? Well, all the basic smoke tests passed after introducing my changes. For Raspberry Pi OS, I could only check the repo sync. The rest, I could not test it, but should work just fine because, as I told, it's either a rebuild or just the plain repositories. The reason for this is that I didn't have any Raspberry at hand where I could install the version 13. The client tools are work in progress. For now, I use a proof of concept that Viktor Sheskov, who is in this call, prepared for me. So thanks a lot for that. So as the client tools are still not ready, I expect that those operating systems should be supported already in the next two unit release after 2026-01. Okay. So I don't have much to show or any demo, but here you can see that Debian 13 is onboarded as Salt, classic Salt minion, done from the web UI with a bootstrap script, and also as Salt SSH. So that does it for Debian 13, but I was also working on adding the support for OpenSUSE Libs 16.0 and SUSE Linux Enterprise. So again, a refresher. Maybe you remember that I did something last year already, but it was only for the Lib 16 alpha. Then all that I did got practically finished by Cedric Bosdonat. He even added the support for SUSE Linux Enterprise 16.0, but since some small bits were missing for Uyuni, as well as the documentation, that is what I did in this case. I did some extra testing for Lib 16 just in case. I could not see anything strange. And SUSE Linux Enterprise 16 was not covered originally, but it's covered now. And well, it's basically ready to be released together with the Unit 2026-01, as Marina already explained. As usual, those are the links for the pull request in case you want to have a look. But in the case of this pull request, they are already merged. Again, here you can see a quick screenshot of two OpenSUSE Lib 16 clients onboarded and working, and showing you that in the case of one of them, patch is missing. And since I have some extra time, there is an extra ball for this. A lot of people is always asking how they can add new operating systems to Unit to be supported as clients. So I started writing a guide about how you can do that. You could do that following the pull request, but of course, I think this is easier. And I think that it's fairly complete, not complete. Let me exit and hopefully you can see the wiki now. Can you?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, very good. Then I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but you can see that it's quite comprehensive. And to showcase what Marina did, that the change to the Git workflow should not affect a ton of people, I think that all the instructions that you have here, you can still contribute to Uyuni using the main Uyuni repository, and you don't need to worry too much about the Git workflow. However, if someone is going to document this, for example, myself or someone from the community maybe, then this is one of the examples where the Git workflow will be involved. Just read very carefully what this guide is and what this guide is not about. If you, for example, want to manage, yeah, I don't know, Arch Linux, then this guide will not help you because you would need to do heavy changes on the repo sync, and that is even out of my knowledge. You can still do it, but you will not find instructions in this guide. With that, I think that's pretty much about it. So if you have any questions for me, happy to reply to them. Otherwise, we can jump into the next presenter. Let me see the chat just in case. Yeah, it's, as I said, we care about more operating systems than just SUSE Linux Enterprise of OpenSUSE, and it's always nice to showcase that here.
Okay. If okay, there is a question from Christian in the chat. What do you think about also supporting those immutable distributions with OS3 repositories?
Well, my question here would be about what distributions you are talking about in this context, because I'm not sure. Maybe it's possible to make Debian 13 immutable, but to be honest, I cannot tell you what I think, because if that's a possibility, I still didn't try it. Maybe something for the next hack week, unless someone wants to tackle it first.
Okay, if we don't have any more questions for Julio, then I think we can move to the next presentation. And the next speaker will be Michele, that will tell us more about implement ephemeral environment with the dev container.
So yeah, hi, let me share the screen. So yeah, if you remember a while ago, I started to work on the dev container, trying to improve I mean, dev container are these things that now are available that allow to set up quite quickly a development container. There was, yeah, I worked a while ago on that. There was some limitations. So in general, I tried to tackle them. In particular, the main difference are that right now, as you can see here, if it collaborates, yeah. I mean, it's not just a Docker file, it's not just a container, but there would be, it will use a Docker Compose. So we will instantiate several containers. So the main container where we develop, but also automatically the database container will be spin up. So in this way, we are able to run the unit test, but moreover, all the dependencies will be installed in the dev container. So it will be possible to run manager IDM and install a uni. A uni version. So yeah, I mean the procedure. I mean it's not still merged yet, so that's why I'm showing you in my private fork. But yeah, as usual, I will show you the procedure with GitHub, but of course, it's you can use the dev container in the way you like, CLI, VS Code, whatever. So if you see here, you can create a new dev container with the option. In this case, I use the dev compose. Should be pretty clear. As you can see, what happens is that and it's here. Yeah, so you have the classic page with the VS Code online in your browser, but every time you open the terminal, it shows such some information about what you can do. So as you can see, you can of course, you can build and run the unit test as usual. And yeah, here is provided all the information useful for debugging, such as where to see the reports and yeah, how to connect to the unit test database. But yeah, the most important things that I liked, to show you is that yeah, you can run already did it because it took, of course, a while. But yeah, you can simply run manager install podman with the configuration file that is provided, and if you click in this link, you would have an instance of Uni. Yeah, of course, you identified to connect Minion, but yeah, if you want to use it just for see how the web page looks like, or I was thinking about also a translation or something really clicky, yeah, you can use it. I think if you use it in your local instance, you can also use it in a regular way. But yeah, that's it. And as you I shown here, all the debug ports are open, so you can directly from here set up the debugger for debug that instance. You can do that also from your local machine, and yeah, it's pretty much it what I'd like to show you. So I think that in this way, with dev container, we are almost able to do whatever it's required for a developer to start to develop in the easier way possible. But yeah, as usual, if you have yeah, we're going to merge it soon, as soon as the PR will be reviewed. But yeah, if you have any other idea about how to improve it, you're welcome to provide it, and yeah, we can have also other improvement of it. That's about it. I don't know if there are any questions.
I think in the chat there is no questions related to the presentation.
No, I would say no. The discussion is around salt at the moment.
Oh, okay, it will be more far. Okay, so this is it for me.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot,
Ignore
Michele.
it.
And
Michele, maybe something, if I can.
yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, some idea. I think I shared in some pull request, but yeah, this is for development. But maybe if we include here also the Releng tools, it might be also useful to do the build and push to OBS, because otherwise, at least on my case that I'm working on a MacOS, I need to have another VM for that. Maybe including also this there is not doesn't cost that much to have Tito and the other tools there installed, and can be also used for that.
Yeah, it's an option for sure. I started to have a look on that, and yeah, most of the container that we're already using, yeah, basically have the same dependencies that this one. This one is created automatically from each one every time we have a new something new in the master branch, but yeah, it's feasible, and then and we can also install something else like you said, Tito or whatever, for a length. So yeah, it could be the container for them all, I would say. So yeah, it's a good idea.
Cool. Thank you.
Any more question around this? Seems no. So thanks a lot, Michele, for the demo and for the update on the dev container. And given that on the chat we are still discussing about salt, I think we can directly move to the next presentation, in this case from Victor, and it's about Ansible to salt integration. Victor,
Yep.
stage is yours.
Thank you. I'm starting sharing the screen. I hope you should see it in a moment. Hope you should see it.
Yep, it's there.
Great. So first of all, nice to see you here. And as Marian mentioned, my name is Victor Zhistkov, and I'm a part of the development team. And first of all, I would like to invite you to the nice event, Config Management Camp. If it's possible for you to join in person, it would be great to see you there. We will have one session during this event. It should be, I think, on February 2nd, about 4 p.m. So, and this particular presentation is a kind of part of the presentation on the config management camp, but just a part of it, and mostly focused on the new implementation, which is not part of the Uyuni, and it will be discussed. And as it was implemented as a kind of POC project, and there was no any chances to be sure that it will work. So we haven't yet decided what to do with it. But funny thing that it finally works. Short spoiler. So the main focus of this Hack Week project was to avoid creating the new connections for the managed client for Ansible, just to use the existing salt connections with the zero MQ transport. So it could help us to get rid of the extra workload on the network and managing the SSH keys. And also, we don't need to have extra connections on the opposite side than the connections from the salt as they initiated from the minions to the master. For the SSH case, the direction of the connection is the opposite, so the server should reach the managed client. So the goal was to make Ansible easier to use in the existing salt environment. In this particular proof of concept, Uyuni and SUSE Multi-Linux Manager was slightly out of the context, so I mostly focused on the pure Ansible and Salt. But to be fair, there is one point which is still relevant for Uyuni already, and I will show you in a moment. And one more note about the Salt SSH. It was also out of the focus, but in general, it should be possible with the small adjustment to the connection plugin. As modern world is almost impossible without AI, I also try to use AI in this work, but in quite a specific manner. And this is the only slide which has a science of AI. So the AI was used just for this nice picture, and that's it. So, and for me, Ansible integration is exactly AI here. So, and let's start. So, what we have with the current state of the implementation of the salt itself. So we have the salt master on the main server and the salt broker on the proxy, and virtually we could have quite significant amount of the salt brokers with the salt minions connected through these brokers. Some of them could be connected directly to the master, and from each of the minions, we have two separate connections initiated by the minions towards the master. So it should be ports 4505 and 4506 for publish and return channels. As I mentioned, they're initiated from the minions, and this hours has nothing to do with the exact flow of the data. So the data could be transferred in both directions, but it's only about the source of the connection. So they are originated by the minions. What is really important here. And extra details about the existing implementation of Ansible integration, which is already present in Uyuni. We have these extra clients which are defined as an Ansible control node, and through these clients we can reach not the minions in this case, but the clients managed with Ansible. And each of these Ansible control node has to have and maintain its own inventory. And opening SSH connections from this client to the managed client using Ansible. So we have extra connections and extra entities across all of the environment in this case. And exactly this complexity was really focusing my attention here, and I started to think what could we do with the implementation to make it more seamless and maybe transparent if we already have the existing connections on the Salt side. Probably we can reuse them for Ansible. And what is the exact target I was trying to achieve? So the idea was to get rid of this extra Ansible control node and use Ansible. In this particular POC, Ansible is installed exactly on the same host as the Salt master. But as I mentioned, the Uyuni is not really the case here. But the idea is to implement the same approach to Uyuni installation as well, but in slightly different way, as we have the main server container, and the idea of putting extra Ansible to this big container will not be good enough. So most probably we need to think about the exact design of the implementation. So, and next should be the demo, and I need to switch to shell. So I hope you should see this shell. And let's start with the salt. So we can check the salt key. In this test environment, I have already 6 minions with accepted keys and 2 unaccepted. So the idea was also to make the Ansible inventory as transparent as possible for the Ansible, and provide the inventory from Salt. And if we check Ansible inventory with graph, we should see exactly the same minions listed in the accepted keys spread across the groups of Ansible inventory. And to check how Ansible inventory plugin is working with the combination of the Salt, we can get some extra minions with accepting them. Salt. Let's accept this one. Yes, salt key. It's accepted, and Ansible inventory. Now it's listed in one group and not in the others. So, and we will go to accept the last one. Key. No unaccepted keys, and check the inventory. Now we have this latest accepted, which was Alma 9. So it's listed in Alma group and nowhere else. As you can see, there is a list of the groups which actually populated from Salt as well, but in Salt there is no exact group implementation as it's made on the Uyuni side, but instead we have the configuration for Salt master node groups. So they are configured with the node groups. And the Ansible inventory plugin is taking this inventory with accepting the group spreading using this compound rules, and so that's why these nodes are listed in this way according to the rules specified for the node groups. And then let's try to check how it works with the Ansible calls. And first of all, let's wait. Let's take a glance on the Salt event bus. So let's try this. Just a short ping. So we can see the responses from the clients. Maybe not from all of them. This is a demo effect as usual. So seems one of them is not responding for some reason, but it's fine. So next we can check the Ansible call. Model ping. And we have the responses from the Ansible side. And if we can take a look on the salt event bus, we will see these extra events related to the Ansible. So it's transferring the file to the managed clients and running some commands, etc. But it's using only the salt transport and not using the transport of SSH. So we can double check it with the other shell. Here we can use Ansible with explicit setting using SSH connection plugin with the model ping and called for. So we should see the responses from the clients. But in this case, you should see that the salt event bus is completely silent. So salt is not used at all. Only the SSH transport is used. But in this case, it also using the inventory plugin still. And with the inventory plugin, it also can find the Python interpreter, which is used from the salt bundle. And it's extra benefit of this kind of implementation. So we can use the Python inside the salt bundle as the interpreter for Ansible. And the last point I want to show you is any of this, for example, this one. It's the playbook, just a simple one, and let's try to run it. Playbook. So we are getting the information from the connected clients. There was some issues with one of the clients, so this one is not reachable for some reason. Demo effect as usual, but in any case, we should see the exact responses. We were asking about the exact distro installed on the system and the version, and we can take a glance on a more complex example, which is also getting the data from the client, not as the facts, but also as the files. So we want to collect some specific files from the clients. The destination will be here. So now I will show that it's empty. It probably doesn't exist at all. So we can just run it. So it's collecting, and if we can take a glance on the salt event bus, we should see the quite noisy traffic there. So as usual, we get the failed minion. And now if we take a glance on this directory, we will see the exact files received equip, and let's take a glance what was gathered from these hosts. We see the auth release files from each of the client. Virtually, it should work with any of the playbook. I haven't checked the most complex one, just simple ones, but I don't see any reasons why they shouldn't work. In general, the plugin is only implementing 3 methods. One of them is run command on the remote host. The other one is pushing file to the remote host and pulling the file from the remote host. So just 3 methods, and all of them implemented with the connection plugin for Salt and Ansible in this case. So, and let's switch back to the presentation. A few more slides. So first of all, the results. Good things, it works. We have no any necessity to store the credentials of the hosts, and all of the data transfer is performed on 0MQ level. So the only key from Salt is used here. So we are not adding the extra complexity on managing the credentials. It's fully transport. We don't need any challenging configuration. The plugins itself are quite simple, and the experience is almost seamless, and we don't need to do any modifications for Ansible playbooks, etc. So, and I pretty sure that almost all of them could be used with no any modifications, and probably the different collections with the models as well. So, and as I mentioned, the bonus, we can use the Python from the Salt bundle from the client, and it's pretty nice as we have the same same Python version on all of the clients with the Salt bundle. And bad things, we have some extra workload on the Salt master, as the traffic on the from the Ansible side is quite large, and way larger than the messages on the Salt event bus as usual messages for Salt. There could be some performance issues, but I have no chances to test it on the any large deployments. And overall traffic for the minions with the calls to Ansible is slightly higher than the usual traffic to Ansible with SSH, as in case of Ansible Salt messages, it has to slightly increase the size of the transfer data due to these headers, etc. And some of the data is transferred as the base 64. So it's a kind of bad effect of the implementation. So, and unknown things, it's still not really well tied with the Uyuni itself, and I was using the node groups, not the system groups of Uyuni in this case. With the system groups from Uyuni, we have the problem that they could be named with the spaces, some extra characters which are not allowed with the groups of the Ansible inventory. Ownerships of the systems assigned to different organizations is really unknown part, and I have no idea what should we do with this in this case. And the same story with the Uyuni users permissions, especially for the users from the different organizations. So I have no any answer here yet. And some extra details about the internals of transference files, some numbers to Node. I checked different implementations of the ways of transferring files back and forth from the clients to the master, and from the I mean in both directions. And there's a list of different implementations. Some of them are not really useful, as they increase the traffic not just for the particular minion, but for all of the minions. If you, for example, call the hashutil base 64 decode file, it will be passed to the minion inside the request as one of the parameters for the function call. and all of the minions will get this function call with these parameters, even if they are not really able to read them and to expose them to the log, etc., to use them somehow. But in any case, they are receiving these messages. And with this implementation, especially in the large deployments, it's not the case to use it at all. So I switched to the different implementation, which is used a CP model with the get file implementation method, and also the compressed option of this method. But for the files which are large and binary, the compression could not work in some case good enough, as the files could be not really well compressed. For the text files, especially large ones, it works perfectly. And on the baseline, on the bottom, you can see the numbers from the native implementation on the Ansible side with the SSH model. And I think that's it. So you can scan the QR code if you want, and it will follow you to the same page as on the initial slide with the title to the Hack project. You can take a glance the description there, and there's a link to really small repo in the GitHub with just a couple of these models. The inventory model is about, I think, 20 maybe lines meaningful, and connection model is bigger and more complex, but not that huge anyway. And that's it for my side. So questions, comments, wishes?
Doesn't look like. Well, in any case, thanks a lot for presenting, Victor. It looks really promising, this integration, so well done. And with that, I think we can move to the next presentation. That one will be the last presentation from the AQUIC report, but we also have one more, so please don't run away. So the next presenter is already on camera. We have Eric that will tell us more about the latest improvements in testing the ZVM clients. Stage is yours.
Thank you, Marina. Let me share my screen. Share. Do you see my screen?
We see Jitsi, yeah. Okay, now the slides.
Okay, good. Presentation. Okay, so this is quite an unusual presentation because we are not really used of speaking about non-x86 clients, but Uyuni works perfectly on other architectures, PowerPC, Raspberry, ARM, and also S390, which is the mainframe. So what are we speaking about? We are speaking about those big beasts. Here you see on the photograph the scale of a computer. The architecture is quite different from what you are probably used to. It's centralized computing. That means that all the I/O is offloaded to controllers. It's big, it's very fast, it's very redundant. The idea is to have things that never stop, that are maintainable by changing components without turning off and on again. And they are also quite expensive, of course. In the case of IBM mainframes, it's interesting from the testing point of view because the instruction set and one of the operating systems have been made for virtualization from the beginning. So we are speaking of 1964, 1968. Many of you were probably not born. And at that time, we did not have PCs or Macs or Apple or anything, and they were already doing virtualization, virtual machines. And of course, we test a lot Uyuni via virtual machines. Usually on x86, we do it on KVM, but in that case, we do it on a mainframe operating system, which is ZVM, which has the benefit of being the native operating system for the IBM customers. Which means that they can continue using their normal operating system and still use Uyuni clients. In this context, I've been working during that week on a project that is called Feilong. And this is an API that can start and stop very easily virtual machines. And I've written as well a Terraform provider. So you can, if you know Terraform libvirt provider for KVM, this is the equivalent for ZVM. The Feilong project is hosted by the Open Mainframe project, which is supported by the Linux Foundation. And nice logo with a dragon. Feilong is the Chinese flying dragon. So what I did in the Hack Week 25, I added support for Network Manager because it's what you have in all recent distributions, be it SLIS 16, Red Hat 10, Ubuntu 24.26. I also added initialization of the network and everything inside the VM. So far, from preceding Hack Week, we were cheating. We were just setting up the virtual hardware of the VM, but we were not running any initialization inside the VM from Feilong. We were offloading everything after the virtual hardware was ready. And I needed also to add DHCP support because this is what we have at SUSE on our mainframe. So I needed to adapt to this setup. On the right side, you see some JSON code. This is part of what is sent to Feilong. In that case, we have a lot of static declarations for IP addresses and things like that. Of course, all of that goes away when you use DHCP to dynamically configure your network on the Uyuni clients. Here is an example of what you might be using, for example, for creating an Almany Linux client for Uyuni. You see very readable and quite expected settings like the quantity of memory, the size of a disk, which image you'll be using, which MAC address you wish. You notice there's no IP address, nothing, because here we are in a DHCP setup, and which virtual switch you would use. Virtual switches are like physical switches, but they run in memory inside the mainframe, so they are very fast if you have thousands of Linux clients. So this is the idea. This is meant for really high performance. I have a number of pointers here. Maybe do pause in the recording if you want to get them in more detail. And before I switch to the questions and answers, a very quick demo. I have mainframe terminal here, 3270 terminal, and I connect to the mainframe. I log on to my user. So this is quite strange because users are VMs. in the VM, a user is a VM. So I connect to my test machine using a proxy for connecting. And here you see a login, a Linux login of a very normal, of a very Linux, very ordinary Linux machine. That's the Alma one that I showed the configuration for. Let's show the full booting sequence, maybe. Sorry, demo effect. You can see the grab menu, and from here on, you're on familiar world. Sorry, yeah, and you see it's going rather fast, the boot sequence. Yeah, if you've been paying attention, you've seen Cloud Init setup going through. So that's about it. Are there any questions? Nope.
It seems no. So I would say thanks a lot for presenting and also for working at this Hackweek project. And we were talking about testing. So the next one and last presentation for today will be from Oscar, and he will tell us more about the test reports for Uyuni.
Hello. Wait a second. Okay. Okay. You can see me probably. And you can see the screen, right?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, very quick. It's just to share that well, we had been running since we have Uyuni, we have a CI test report running in our data centers, and we decided to also start running some workloads on Amazon Web Service. We still working on polish this. We had some recent issues on the basic test, but yeah, the idea is that we have this running on Amazon Web Service, and this will allow us to share publicly all the reports with you. So I temporarily added this link. We can add it in other place we prefer, but with this link, you will jump to this domain, part of a uyuni-project, and then here you have all the different job executions. Here, for instance, it's running that number, so the previous one should be here, which is this one. And then if you enter here, you will have all the details of the test execution. You have all the merged test report on the first link, cucumber report, and you will have this nice report with the different scenarios and where it's failing and so on. Okay, and then if we want to go to more details, you can also go to these ones which are built-in cucumber reports, where you can see also some details in isolation, plus all the logs on the server side, on the Uyuni server side, which are here, and the logs for all the different salt minions that we run on it. And that's all. You have any question? Guess no. So yeah, that was all. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing this, and for sure, I'm pretty sure that our community will benefit in having one place for gathering the test report in an easier way than before. So thanks a lot for making this possible. And we are at the end of the session, but I have just one last reminder. Victor was mentioning something before, and I want to highlight indeed that this weekend there is a FOSDEM, and just after FOSDEM that will take place in Brussels from the 2nd of February until the 4th, there is in Ghent the config management camp, and Victor will be there with Pablo presenting the way to connect the Salt and Ansible together. So if you are around, as Victor was saying, give it a try, because the conference it's definitely an interesting one, and you will learn a lot more. Said that, do you have any last minute question, comments, or other things that you would like to share with us? Okay. Thanks, Christian. In the chat, you can see that there is also another presentation from Christian that he's related always to Yoni. Let me see if maybe I can also open that one, so I can give you a little bit of visibility. And you should now see. Yes. Okay. This one is the proposal that Christian was mentioning before in the chat. Any other question or comment? Doesn't seem to be the case. So as usual, thanks a lot for joining. We will publish the recordings later in the usual YouTube channel. You will see the announcement in the mailing list, so the usual way to share the informations. And thanks a lot for joining, and see you next time.
See you. Bye.
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 See you.
Bye, everybody.